guys, welcome to another garden tour. This will be my July garden tour, and I thought I'd start out here on the back of my house so you guys could get a good look. I haven't talked yet about my hanging baskets, and I am just really loving them. I'm going to zoom in here so you can see them a little bit closer, and we'll get up closer on the deck as well. But it is a Proven Winners mix, so it's got Super Tunia Bubblegum, Super Tunia Fuchsia, and Super Tunia Silverberry. Loving that combo, and it is doing really well. I think what really makes them work and be consistent is that they have a drip line to them, which has been pretty consistent. I have to fine tune it a little bit to drop down into those other pots, and it's hooked up with my garden, but I'm working on getting a separate drip line. My husband's been trying to help me with that, so always a work in progress, but I'm starting to get it kind of figured out for this year. I had to do that last year as well, but I've been loving those baskets and I haven't talked about them. We'll go up on the deck in a minute and I'll show you them close up, but maybe we'll just start back here. I'm going to zoom slowly, and we'll maybe start with this fireplace bed. And some beautiful things are in bloom right here. We've got some daisies up here in the corner, which I absolutely love. It's their third year, and you can tell they're just doing so well. They're super tall. I did not imagine them being that massive, but they are. I need to remember that when I'm planting things. The campanula has been spent, and that was beautiful. I got a lot of questions about that. It's just a regular campanula, not anything special. And so I like this bed, kind of turns green, and then other things start to pop up. One of my favorite flowers is this Luminary Opalescence Pink from Proven Winners, this phlox, and it's a mid-season blooming phlox. There's different phlox that bloom at different times. It is so beautiful. I love the color. Let's try to get in a little bit closer. They're just one of my favorite flowers, and I even added more this year. I didn't film it, but I did add more. Then I have these gorgeous cone flowers. I'll put the name on the screen. They do turn kind of a lime color. Right now they're looking a little bit white, but they'll age and look a little bit more green. Love that combination together, and also with the meant to be tangerine hyssop. Such a pretty combination right here. The only thing I don't like about these cone flowers is they do turn black after a while, and that's just not my favorite, but I just have to make sure I deadhead them and keep up on them. Look at this gorgeous bumblebee here on my alyssum or hyssop. Lots of different names for it. Hopefully you can see him. He keeps flying away. Anyway, gorgeous. And then next to it I have this plant I can never remember. And I always forget to figure out the name. But now you can actually see it in person. It's in bloom. And this bubblegum Super Tunia, which I love. It takes a minute to get going here in spots that are partly shady, and so it's taken a minute, but it will soon just be huge right here, and so I'm excited for that. My lupine is done right here, but then I have this variety of daisies. It's a little bit more frilly, which I love, and I'll put the name on the screen because I can't remember it exactly, but it's quite frilly and I love it. So that's what we have here that's blooming and doing so happy. My delphinium is done blooming. That just gives me such a nice show in June. Love that. I'm hoping to see that it blooms again in the fall, but we'll see. And then another one of my favorites is this pink cashmere. I feel like verbena does take a little while to get going as well, but you can see it's just so pretty. In the front where it's in full sun, it's really doing well, you'll see. But I plopped this all throughout my yard, and I think in a month or so it's going to be really big and beautiful. So such a pretty combination here. Okay, let's move up around the bend. There's really not a ton going on here, but this does give you a nice view of that opalescence flock. So pretty. My pincushion flower kind of dies out and then it grows back. I don't know if everybody else's does that, but I struggle with it a little bit. Anyway, I'm glad it flushed back out. It looked pretty sad. It kind of split open the middle, but it's flushing back. There's a few blooms left in my campanula. and it will rebloom again. I just kind of cut that back. I need to cut the other one back, but you will get a few blooms back. Not as many as you have with that first flush, but you will get more. My lady's mantle bloomed and I've already cut it back. And some other things that are just kind of here now. They've already had their show. And the hydrangea here, this is a little lime, is about ready to have its show. Those start to bloom in July, so that'll be the next big thing that comes out in the garden. These bushes have struggled and I need to trim them. This one's a watering issue, and we had a lot of thrips with a big heat wave that came through, and a lot of my plants suffered, but I need to troubleshoot that. And I also wanted to show you over here that my clematis died. I have no idea why. I don't know what I did, you guys. It bloomed so beautifully and then it just died away. So, I don't know. I thought I was doing so good with it, but apparently not. Do you have any tips with keeping it going? I mean, I feel like I pruned it well, but it just didn't survive for some reason. Now we have over here these beautiful plants here. We've got some Gara in the back that's pink. It's about ready to bloom, and I have two plants here. They have these beautiful pink blooms, and I love that I put this grouping here. They'll stand up behind here. I also did plop in this purple fountain grass, and I'm super excited to see how big it gets. I needed something to fill this area, and I'm not quite sure what I'm going to put here, so I thought that was a good option. It doesn't get a ton of sun, so I think it might be a little slow growing, but we'll see how it does. And I also planted some new things back here that we'll talk about in a minute. Well, let's just talk about the dogwood right now. So I planted some dogwood. It's struggling a little bit because they were in cans for a couple months and it's been hot, and they're so happy to finally be in the ground. I love dogwood because the stems aren't quite red right now, and I think it's because they're just suffering a little bit. But in the winter, they'll have some bright red stems that will show up when everything's kind of dead and gone, and they're just really bring a nice interest in the winter. And so I wanted them in the back, and they'll get nice and tall to fill in this area, so I think it's quite nice. This hydrangea is also a little lime, suffered a little bit. These are both suffering with chlorosis. I just ordered some EDDHA chelated iron, and that always helps with that. I just ran out of it and needed to order more for this season. So once I get that next week, I'll come and put that on the plants, and they'll be a lot happier. Then I have the banana cream too from Proven Winners, and these are just so happy right now. They are a yellow bloom, but they do turn into like a creamy white. So they stay yellow for about a week, and then they're white for the rest of the time. I wish they stayed yellow a little bit longer, but I've heard if you have them in pots that they'll stay yellow a little longer, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure if that's the case because I've only tried them in the ground, but I think they're beautiful. Next year my plan is to plant some kind of plant in front of them, some kind of annual, just to bring a bigger show here, because I think the stems of daisies, they just need to be covered up a little bit. So I'm going to think about that for next year. But this is my pine tree bed, and it's just looking so nice with the spirea. My idea here is to come in here and get another barberry bush here. I need to do that this fall when it's a better time to plant. These already bloomed. These were my bare root roses, the Gertrude Jekyll. I don't know if you saw my rose tour video, but they just gave me a few blooms, and they have these nice big shoots here, so they'll give me some more blooms. But they're going to be beautiful back in here. Next year they'll be bigger and fuller, and they'll fill this area in, and those dogwoods will get a little bit taller, and then I'll have that winter interest with them. I also planted this plant back here. I'll put the name. Not looking as purple as it usually is because it's struggling a little bit because it was in the can for so long, but it will be nice to have that purple interest next to that 9-bark and then these dogwood. So those were my new additions that I haven't mentioned yet, but I love the pop of these spireas, and then of those little balls that I got from World Market. Look how pretty that's looking. And then I did plant some Super Tunia bubblegum in here as well. And it takes a while for them to fill in here as well because they are in part sun. So I'm just being patient with those. Same with the Super Bina pink cashmere. They're gonna take a minute too. I have one here and one here. So they'll give us a good show. And I'm surprised this hyssop, I'll put the variety on the screen. Look how pretty it is. It's got like a pink and an orange. It's not as big and full as I thought it was gonna be. but I love this one. Look at the color on that. Stunning, stunning, stunning. Can't wait for that to fill it in. And then I'm getting a little bit of show from this. What's this called, guys? I can never remember. I'll put the name on the screen because my memory is not that good all the time. And then I plopped in another Mondo bush. This is a dwarf one because I don't want to get too big. And then look at this Senecio, the angel wing Senecio. Oh, I love that plant so much. And then my other pincushion flower is coming back in. Then we have this thread leaf Coreopsis blooming. It looks like it's a little chlorotic because it's got some bright yellow. I didn't used to like this flower, but now I really, really do. So pretty. And then the penstemon has already bloomed, but look how pretty. This was full of blooms. That are these little bell flowers. I'll put the variety on there. So stunning. It's done. I should probably come and cut it back so we get some more. It will give me another flush. In fact, you can see the one starting to come in right there. But I love the way this is filling out. And then this is some lamb's ear ground cover, which is really nice too. This area has been really nice too. My flip-flops are kind of squeaky because they're wet. So if that's what you hear, sorry, I'm not gonna go change. But look how pretty this area is. This has kind of done its show already. The catmint, the serendipity's getting ready to go, but look at those beautiful echinacea, this cone flowers. Love that pop of red. So glad I added those this year. And then the serendipity allium is gonna be ready to bloom too. Love that mix with the purple and the red, and then the bright spirea with some pine. Such a good mix. Let's get a back view here. Climbing down my rocks. And there's that view from down here. So pretty. We're getting closer to the creek, so I'll try to talk a little bit louder. The sedum is doing its little thing. Can't remember the variety of all these, but they're fun. I like them. And then I put some Superbena pink cashmere right here. It's taking them a minute. Atlas roses already done their little show, but some more Superbena. So that will be pretty and stunning when it's really, really going. And here's a view of the creek. Some daisies down here that popped out, some more threadleaf Coreopsis. I put a larger Mugo pine here, and it's getting hot. I need to make sure I water it. Water doesn't really reach down here. I have to water it on my own. Here's the creek. Hopefully we'll get a glimpse of the ducks because we have some ducks that live on our creek, and it's so nice to have them. Okay, so these I'm really excited about. They're a little chlorotic. I need to give them iron. Look how pretty these are. These are the new Hoopla Vivid Orchid. And I love, they have such a change of color as they age. They start out as this bright fuchsia, then they turn to this kind of mid color, and then this blue purple color. So pretty. I usually don't like flowers that have big stripes or anything, but these I don't mind. I don't like the stripes that go on the sides, but this outline, this margin being white just makes them pop, and I love them so much. I knew they'd have to work pretty hard in this spot. The soil here is not that great, but they're doing better than I thought they would. So keep going, guys. Okay, so let's move. Let's see. Let's keep moving down the creek and then we'll come back around. Right here, I have planted some lantana. They're taking a little while to get going, and this spot is really hot and dry, and I'm hoping they'll just kind of do their best. But they are cute. They have these they have pink and yellow blooms on them. And once it gets hot here soon, I think they're just gonna pop. But I have this Gara here. This Gara is huge. Probably need to find a new spot for this Gara. So whimsical though. I love it. I need to tuck it back in some different areas, but this area always struggles. This is chlorotic here too, but look how pretty this is. I believe this is also a little lime. Not quite sure. I need to put the name on the screen and look it up because I can't remember exactly. And then my peony is struggling a little bit, and I think it's because this area doesn't get much water. So I need to figure that out here. I think I need to change some sprinklers to go all the way around for the plant. So I need to work on that, because I also had some plants here that died and I'm so sad. So we'll work on that. But look, you guys, I still have my pansies up. I'm just gonna leave them up because they're just still going. And I think I'm gonna be able to get them through summer. We'll see. I have different sedum varieties, a dark one here, and then another one here. The names will be on the screen. And then my western sword ferns are doing so nicely. It's a little bit sunny. Sun's kind of going down. And so those are just doing their thing. I tried to see if impatiens could grow well down here, and they're doing okay. They're not super happy, but they're doing okay. Then I have these beautiful flowers. I love these. They're like bubble flowers or something. I have some purple ones too, but they open like this to this, and they're so cute. I just love them. So they're just little plants now. I just planted them last fall. The heuchera is doing great. The varieties coming in. Why is it white? That's interesting. I might have to read up on that. Interesting. But things are filling in here. I've had to come in and weed a few times. I've got lots of hosta varieties in here, and some heuchera and ferns and vinca ground cover that's really trying. It's really trying to come in. It's doing its best, as you can see. I'll be really happy when this is full of it, or maybe I'll hate it because it's so aggressive. We'll see. I'm kind of nervous about the whole thing, but it's looking really nice here. And I'll talk about those plants up there as we come around the top. But look how beautiful these bubblegum petunias are hanging over my wall here with my incredible hydrangeas. Love this view. Okay, we'll look at that again in a second, but I'll talk about what's down here. This is the little quick fire, and I'm so excited to finally see some blooms on this. Oh, they're so delicate, and I love them. This was up a little higher, and I moved it down here, and I think it's a perfect spot because it was getting a little burnt in the full sun. This gets morning sun, and then it's kind of shaded the rest of the day, and oh, look how pretty that is. Yep, next month this is gonna all be in bloom and shining. Brennera, I also have some Brennera over here, a big grouping of it. In fact, let's look at that. I love this plant. Look how it's overflowing onto the trail here. So pretty. Okay, let's go back around to the other side. I love this time of night. Okay, we'll continue down here and then we'll walk back and see the hydrangeas because I don't want you to miss that. I definitely want to get some more of this Haconocloa. Love it. I just want this whole area to be filled. So in the fall, I will be planting more of that. Even though my husband's like, really, more plants? Yes, we need more plants. Here's another one of these bubble flowers. This one's purple. It's kind of a blue purple. Something's kind of eating it, it looks like. There's a good full one. Look how pretty that is. Love that pop of green. Like I said, I need more. This one's struggling a little bit. A Veronica, a white variety. Then I have some daisies back here that really get hit hard with the sun, but they're supposed to be good like that. Anyway, in this Helen von Stein's lamb's area, maybe I'm watering this area too much. I'm trying to keep a few other things watered in here that I've planted, so it's kind of hard, but maybe I just need to cool it a little bit. Okay, I'm gonna walk back here. You can get this view of the creek and the house. And then we're gonna walk back. I'll flip the camera around and you can see the hydrangeas with the Super Tunia bubblegum. It's so pretty. Okay, here we go. This tree has died. We need to move it. So sad. It's a honey locust tree. And look at my little cut flower garden up here. And I added some new plants right here. So I'm excited to talk about them. Hopefully you can see them. We'll try to get a view here. I just added drip to these, but this is some, I'll put the name on the screen of these, the exact variety, but I love these so much. And you know who's made me fall in love with them? Is Dig Plant Water Repeat. Love her channel, and they're starting to get some new shoots, so that will be fun. I have this coneflower here too, which I love. This is a Proven Winners variety. It's called Melon something. And then I put in some Proven Winners, Denim and Lace right here. And this is just going to be beautiful and big behind these steps. These are just baby plants right now. But I love that purple with the orange. It's going to be real pretty. And this area just needed something. This is where our property ends. They have a garden here, but I just wanted something beautiful here in this area. So that'll be really nice. Okay, coming up to the shed. I'm super happy with my window box. And let's talk about this pot here first. So I've got some creeping Jenny. It struggled while I was gone and my kids were watering. They just don't know exactly what to do as well as I do. You know how that goes, but it's okay. I knew it'd bounce back. This is my Rose of Sharon standard. It suffered a little bit too. It lost some leaves, but it's flushed back nicely. This is blue chiffon from Proven Winners, so it's going to have these beautiful blue blooms, and it's looking a lot happier than it was. Had a lot of dead leaves on it, but it bounced back really fast. Okay, let's talk about the window box. Look how beautiful the colors are on it. I'm hoping the geraniums get a little bit taller because they are a little bit short, but I love this verbena. And Mizu is one of my favorite new plants. Look how beautiful that is. With the white and the pop of red, the yellow, I could do without. It's too bright of a yellow. Next year I will not do yellow. But that's why you do stuff, because you learn. And I just know I won't use dark yellow anymore. I just won't. But it's just filling in nicely, and I just know it's gonna get even bigger. So here's what I have in here. We've got the Super Bina Cobalt, the Mizu from Proven Winners, Laguna Cloud White, these zonal geraniums that I got from Costco, and this Bright Lights African Daisy. So that's nice to keep that in there. And I've added a drip line to this, and with that consistent water, it's just been so much better. So happy with this window box. It's so fun to look out of my window in my bedroom and see that. So I've got my fruit trees here. This peach tree is doing really great. It bounced back from all the aphids that it had, but it's got some nice peaches on it. And this pear tree lost all its pears. I discovered that. You'll see in one of my videos where I talked about that, but there's just one pear on the top. I don't know if birds ate them or what. There were a lot of them on there. So not sure what happened with that. We'll take what we get. I'm new to fruit trees too, so anyway, let's take one more look at these. Let's take a look at the plants that I have planted here. So this gets full sun, so you can see the difference in the full sun. I mean, this is just so big in a short amount of time, so you'll see the differences here. So full sun obviously does better, but they still do fine, and a little bit of shade I've found. I've got a sweet potato vine, Then some mizu that is gonna eventually hang down here. More sweet potato vine that doesn't get as much sun. Another bubblegum supertunia. Sweet potato vine, make sure I don't fall off the sledge. And this is the one that gets less sun than all of them. So it's just a little, not quite as big. So it's just a little sad. Mizu that's headed to the ledge. Cannot wait for that to happen. This is headed for the ledge and it's gonna hang over and it's gonna be so pretty. These, it's their really first year in my yard and they'll get stronger. Those younger ones with the water, the overhead water spray, they get a little droopy, but that's okay. I know they're gonna get stronger and stronger every year. So they're just little babies now. They're big babies, actually. They're so pretty. Okay, let's talk about my pots on the shed here. All the plants, and this is what I wish I would have saved the tags for. Let's see if I can remember. I trimmed up my little topiaries, and they're so fun, and I added another flower in this because it just needed a little more punch to it. And I also potted up this supertunia bubblegum. We'll see how big it gets. This only gets about 3 to 4 hours of sun, so it's just kind of a trial. This lamium that I ripped out of the ground is doing so awesome. I'm just surprised how well, because I literally just like pulled it out and stuck it in. And then these are more little daisies here. And you've got to have something kind of filling underneath these because they're a very upright plant. But I popped in a little jazzberry because it just needed a trailing plant. I'm like, it just needs something a little more traily next to these impatiens. Look how pretty those are. And then this artist blue ageratum. I have a feeling I'm gonna just move that that this is gonna get swallowed up, but we'll see. I definitely wanted something a little punchier, and then this one has the same. Doesn't get quite as much sun, so it's not as big, and I did lose one of these, but it's okay. And the creeping Jenny doesn't get as much sun, so it's trying to be happy over there. The other one's a lot happier, but basically these are mirrored. This one gets more sun, so you can see it's much happier. And let's look at the creeping Jenny here. It's doing better. Spiller's mostly on the side. So those are my pots. Love looking out the window at those too. So fun. Now over here is where I have done a few things. It's a little sunny right now. This is my gomphrena. I love gomphrena. Look at the color on this. So stunning. It's a little more purple in person. And then I have planted some zinnia seeds in here because I want a bunch of zinnias. I'll have to thin it out a little bit. They took really well. I planted them last week, I think. And then this salvia is so pretty right now. And then I've got some gladiolus bulbs in here, or whatever you call them. And these bees are just loving these sunflowers. Let's try to get a better angle. This angle might be a little better to see them without the sun. But doesn't that just make you think of summer? Ugh. First time planting sunflowers, and I love them. So it'll be fun when all those have filled in. Okay, let's move up to the other part of the backyard. Here we have some blue fescue, and I really like it in front of this wall. It softens it quite a bit. Then we have this hibiscus. It is so nice and bright and pink, and I'm excited for that to bloom. It's getting ready. You can see the little blooms in there ready to go. And then the yarrow already did its thing, but now I need to kind of come cut it back. I guess I'll let it go another week. Serendipity allium is getting ready to bloom. Spirea 9-bark. Senecio is just stunning on this hillside, and the daisies are really giving their show right now too. The Back to the Fuchsia salvia had its show, and now it's the daisy's turn. So pretty. I have some more luminary opalescent phlox. It's a little more dry in this area, so they're not doing quite as well. Then I have some evening primrose here. I've noticed it started to root down the hill too, so that'll be interesting to see how carried away it gets. I don't know if you can see some here and there, but it's definitely kind of rooting in. But I don't mind on the hillside. It has beautiful yellow flowers. And then I've planted some more supertunias, and I think these are called Paradise. I just wanted a pop of color here. When I looked out the window, I was like, I need a pop of dark pink. I have a lot of light pink, and I needed more dark pink, so I planted one here and here. And hopefully they'll do well. It's a little dry there, so I'm gonna kind of test it and see how they do. And then over here, the lavender's blooming. We've been working on sprinklers and rearranging a few things. I planted some snapdragons kind of last minute the other day. I thought they were yellow, but they're this nice pink. I like them anyway, it's okay. And then the coleus. The coleus is taking forever, you guys. Is it just me? Does it take forever to get going? They're just still tiny babies. So I hope it does. And then Proven Winners Pink Cashmere Superbina, taking a while because this is part shade. It gets sunnier and sunnier as the summer goes on, so they'll start to be a little more bloomy. And then I planted some nonstop white begonias, and they're taking forever too. So I went and found some white vinca to fill in here because I just want a pop of white, and I know these are going to do well. So we'll see if those ever make a comeback, but I think I might be done with begonias if they're not Proven Winners because I just haven't had huge success. More coleus, it's just staying baby, tiny. And my other coleuses that are just taking their time. More vinca, banana cream to here. You can see that it's mostly creamy now. It was yellow, but now they're just creamy. And then my spirea. So this area is still taking a while because it's in part shade. This is just above my creek here. And then the pine tree garden is right here. And then the fireplace. So then we'll move over here. I'm going to show you this bed. Look how pretty that is with all the red and pink. It's kind of a pinky red, and I love it. Geraniums, I was going to give them one more shot this year because they do have a little bit of cleanup and they start to look a little drab here and there, but I've really liked them quite a bit. I think this is a good spot because it gets a lot of sun. Let's get a closer look. And I'm not sure the exact varieties I got. These are the Maverick Pink. I'm not sure about these. I got them at Costco. But these are just pretty here. I love the variegation on these leaves here. So stunning. And then this sedum is just taking its time. It's lemon coral sedum. I think if I want to do it again, I'll just plug in a few because these are such slow going that it won't be till the end of summer that I think they're really big. And I kind of imagined them being this bright green underneath all this, but I think it's going to take longer than I think. But it's starting to kind of work. That's kind of what I envisioned. But next time, I'll just add a little bit of it. You can kind of see it starting to creep through, but it's just taking a long time. But look how pretty that is. I planted these last fall. This is a Peter 2. I can't remember what that is. As you can see, they're really tall. I probably wouldn't have planted them here, but I planted here in the fall. I didn't expect them to get so tall, but I'm going to leave them because I think they'll bring a beautiful color in the fall, and then I'll move them because these bushes get huge, you guys. They get massive. They're not my favorite. And my hot tub down there. Even though that's not very pretty though, I just want to get a view back here of that bed because it's really, really pretty with that pink and red. Okay, let's look at the flower box down here. I'm gonna walk around to it. Here's my star jasmine, still living on this, and I planted some ivy in here. It's taken its sweet time, but it's coming up. This will last better than the star jasmine, but I think it might take a while. So I'm glad I left that up because I wanted something up there. But look how beautiful. This is the new yellow saffron finch. I didn't think I was gonna like it because it's yellow, but it's kind of a soft yellow. It's softer than I expected it to be, which I love. You get closer and it is a little bit more of a deep, but in the background, it's just a really nice soft yellow. And I love it with this sparkling amethyst Superbena, which is one of my favorites from last year. Wish I had it in more places this year, but I think it's pretty in here. This had a watering issue, so it's bouncing back. It also was getting eaten by budworms, and I've been spraying for that now. So I solved that problem, sprayed some BT on it. I need to do that weekly with all my petunias. That really helps, but they're doing much better. They're kind of bouncing back. So let's get the view from here. Okay, let's go look at this other bed here, and then the deck, and then we'll be done with this part. Got this variety of yellow petunias here. I love it. This soft yellow with this lavender that's really doing so nice. And then up here, I planted some marigolds, some pale yellow ones. Only one survived, and it's making its way. The rest didn't. So I went and found some pale yellow flowers to go in here because I wanted something to go with this Ageratum Artist Blue from Proven Winners. And it's struggling a little bit in our hot heat. We're in 100 degrees all this week, and it's just been struggling. So this isn't what I quite envisioned, but still pretty. These are pretty. I think these are African daisies, and it looks better next to this dianthus, but not quite what I envisioned. That's okay, we're learning. The dianthus already has its bloom. I'll insert a video of it. It was really pretty with white blooms with like a green center, but now it's done. So I cut that back, and now I just have that nice silvery color on here. And that's all that's kind of blooming right now. Okay, let's make our way upstairs on the deck. I'm going to show you this here. This is what makes your petunias bloom and bloom and bloom. This is the plant food I give them twice a week. I try to, sometimes once a week. This is really what makes a difference in your super petunias. Since they're self-cleaning, they need fertilizer to tell them to bloom, so it's very important. I go around and do it to all my petunias in the yard. But these are my hanging baskets. This one does the best because it gets sun in the front and the back. The other ones struggle just a little bit, but they're doing pretty good anyway. Like I said, I have some drip line that you can see running to them, and then I just let it drip down into these. These always drip, so I always put pots down here. And this is Campfire Marshmallow. I have it in a few places in pots, and this is the only place that it's done really well. Love it though. And some Dusty Miller. I wanted something that could get hot and dry, but actually it's getting a little too much water, so it's always a guessing game with those pots. But here's the other hanging baskets. Have some flags in there because we celebrated the 4th, and I haven't taken them out yet. But I love seeing these hanging on my back porch. Just makes me happy, and I can see them out my bedroom window too. So fun. And same thing, I have some Super Bells chiffon. Oh, you know what? There's bugs on here. That's probably part of my problem. I need to spray. Captain Jack's is what I use. That's probably what killed these. Probably had too much water there, though. Coral bells are kind of picky, but I don't care if things die in here because it's just to catch the drip so my deck doesn't get all wet. So if I have to switch things out, I will. That's fine. Let me show you this little corner that I almost forgot about. Like I said, we got hit with thrips hard. In fact, these knockout roses, let me show you the damage. I mean, these are bouncing back, but a couple weeks ago, these looked terrible. And you can see how they have suffered. I mean, they just were hit with thrips, so I finally sprayed them. I'll put on the screen what I sprayed them with. I wasn't going to, but I had to. I had to do something, and I'm glad I did because it just killed them. Now they're flushing back, and they look so much better. But that's just how things go. I haven't had to deal with thrips like that, and so it was kind of just interesting. Okay, so let's look at these knockout roses over here. Same thing with this one, thrips. But look, it's coming back. Got a little bloom. This daylily's coming out. It's a beautiful peach variety. And my vincas are doing pretty good here. It is hot and dry right here. And then my Rose of Sharon also got hit pretty hard. All my roses did. I had to cut them back quite a bit. This always tips back. There we go. And it's getting a second flush now. Doing good. They're not as vibrant in the heat, but still beautiful. Those are a little aged though, so I'll be excited when I get home from my next vacation. This will be blooming again. This has so many blooms. It's my favorite David Austin rose right now. And if you saw my rose video, then you know that. But thank you for watching. That's it for the backyard. This will probably be part 2, I imagine, for my garden tour. So part 1 will be my front yard and my garden. So that will be up first. Thanks so much for watching, and we will see you guys next time. Bye.